Welcome back everyone, here we are with SightRight inventor and specialist coach Steve Feeney. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi Phil.
Coaching very much a topical thing in darts and snooker right now.
Yeah.
Tell us how the SightRight all came about. I know you've done a video and it's about how your position and everything like that, and I think more and more people are starting to understand coaching.
I think there's always been one key strain of coaching which has been technical. So one of the first things I will ask either a coach or a player, do you teach technical first or do you teach perfect sighting alignment? Now that's a little bit of a double-edged sword question for those coaches, because, or even the players, because if they say they're teaching perfect sighting alignment and I prove that they're not seeing straight, or they can't even assess if a player is seeing straight, then it's a little bit of a difficult question for them to answer, and certainly it comes as a shock to them when I actually prove. So, but most coaches I talk to will all say that they coach technical first, and for me that's putting the cart before the horse.
Snooker, a little bit different. Coaching's come into the game more and more, and you see players with their coaches. But darts, it's almost a taboo still, and you're quite surprised that a sport as high profile as darts, that the players don't have coaches.
Yeah, I am, because I mean, let's face it, Barry Hearn, in terms of what he's done with the PDC, has created one huge commercial enterprise here. You know, but more importantly, he's put darts on the world stage, and I mean the world stage. I can look back and when I used to watch Eric Bristow with my father, you know, darts was great then. Bobby George introducing the walk-ons and all the music and all the, you know, the fantastic stuff that goes around it, the jazz and everything that goes around it. So Barry Hearn has created something hugely commercial, and in turn that brings in huge sponsors. But what it also does is it drives forward performance, and people become inspired and want to become a professional dart player. And I think what he's done with the game has driven that. So then we end up with varying standards. Then we end up with, okay, but if this is a professional sport, then people want to be better than others. They want to get an edge. So they look into the game more. So there's shared technical advice by either players of the past, present, and then there's the experts that really come in that may not necessarily have been players, but have got a completely different view on what's going on and how coaching should be delivered.
Just talk us through quickly the SightRight and how it all came about and your theory behind it.
How it came about, I'm snooker based, and although I coach SightRight across 3 different sports, and it's applicable in snooker, darts, golf, cricket, football, so I can apply it to every accuracy sport. As a snooker player, I was playing pretty good snooker. I developed pretty quick at a later age. So I know we're going to talk about Peter Wright a bit later, but I was a late developer in the game, and I picked up a coaching book, a well-known champion of the game, and I followed his methods, and I destroyed my game in a matter of few months. Now, for me, I needed to understand why, so it developed almost an obsessive search and a quest to find out why did this happen. So I went through a whole process of all the coaching books I could find. I'm pretty intelligent in terms of reading and understanding material, and I could never get the answers. All the coaching books dealt with technical stuff. Well, I thought, hey, cue, action, stance, all these things are pretty straightforward. But how do I learn to see straight? Because snooker for me was a game of geometry. How do I know I see straight? And when I developed SightRight, I'd already seen some of the best coaches in the land who, one certainly misdiagnosed me, the others didn't really even consider it. They used to use a technical practice to show me how to line up a shot, but actually they were having me line up a shot offline. Now, you know, accuracy sport, you set somebody offline when you're lining them up to see a straight line of aim. You would never do that with a rifle. If I set you up with a rifle and said, don't look down the sights correctly that way, look across it, you would never do that. Okay, so when I developed SightRight, it enabled me for the first time to really prove to myself, how do I see straight? What is this eye dominance all about? So there were some typical coaching practices that dealt with eye dominance tests, and I proved that the tests that were being used are not reliable. And I found out that the very simple process was, for most people, we have two eyes where they balance together to see a straight line of aim. Some people will be completely left or right eye dominant. Most people will have a different balance, some bang in the middle, others a slightly different balance. So the key here is find out how does the player see straight, and then apply that to all of the technical understanding in the game. Because if you kind of imagine, and this is what some of the technical coaches struggle to grasp, and when I introduced SightRight, a lot of mocking going on, because, well, these technical coaches, if you imagine setting someone up on an incorrect line of aim, they cannot see straight. Humans are quite intuitive. There's a huge skill in human beings. They can play with what we call spatial awareness and get hand-eye coordination. But if you set them up on a line of aim that they can't see straight, for many that will cause all sorts of problems. Manipulation in technique, manipulation in a throw, manipulation in a snooker stance, manipulation in a cue action, manipulation in a throw, manipulation in where you stand at the dartboard. All these sorts of errors start to develop. Once you learn to see how a player sees straight, and you enable them to see straight, once you prove that, you can then put all of the biomechanics, the mechanical elements of the game in behind perfect sighting.